Alrighty trainers, TaeganAdventures here. So, Niantic have done it. Uxie, Mesprit and Azelf, the Lake Guardians, have started appearing in Tier 5 raids in Pokémon Go. Late news, I know. You should have probably heard about it from my previous video I uploaded yesterday. So yesterday I went over Azelf, Mesprit and Uxie's stats, move pool, and how they'll potentially affect the raid, gym and PvP scene. I went over their coverage, their offenses, and I also gave a pretty brief raid guide on how you should take on the Lake Guardians in Tier 5 raids. Some of you may have developed your own strategies for taking on the Lake Guardians in Pokémon Go, but this is going to be my take on how to take on the Lake Guardians and easily fade them. So Azelf, having the lowest defense stat of the 3 Lake Guardians, would take the least number of people to actually take down. For those players above level 35, 2 to 3 players should be sufficient. For those of you under level 30, groups of 4 to 5 should be a safe play here. As for Mesprit and Uxie, a 3 to 4 man raid should be pretty safe. For those under level 30, I think about 5 to 6 people should be a safe play. The rule of thumb here for the Lake Guardians is groups of 4 to 5, and you should be pretty safe if you bring the optimal counters, which I will be discussing right now. Since all the Lake Guardians are psychic types, they'll all be weak to bug, dark, and ghost type attacks. Bug types have the short end of the stick here, they're not really useful in this case, so I'm going to be going over the dark and ghost types first. Now in terms of dark types, there is really only one good dark type, and that would be Tyranitar. Tyranitar would be a go-to because of its high attack and HP stat. It's pretty bulky, it's pretty hard on all 3 of the Lake Guardians here. Tyranitar's got the bulk, the offenses, the DPS, it's got everything you need. So Tyranitar would be your best dark type, and in my opinion, your best overall counter since it's immune to the psychic type stabs and is pretty tanky as well. As for the ghost types though, Gengar would be pretty good on DPS. As you can see, it does nearly 30 DPS at best, so Gengar would be a really good play. So just make sure that your Gengar has either Shadow Claw, Lick, or Hex as its fast move, and Shadow Ball as its charge move, and you should be good to go basically. But you want to beware of psychic type moves because Gengar does take super effective from psychic type attacks, and Gengar is also a glass cannon, so you might want to use it with caution. If you want more bulk in your ghost types, Gengar Origin would be the one to bring to raids here. Shadow Ball really is one of the best ghost type moves in the game, so Gengar with Shadow Ball would be your best option here. Shadow Claw and Shadow Ball would work really well as a stand-in for Gengar. Some of you may be asking, then what about Weavile? Yes, I know Weavile is not a ghost type, it's a dark type, but nonetheless Weavile is a pretty good counter for the Lake Guardians because of the immunity to psychic type moves. But similar to Gengar, it is a glass cannon, and you should not send it in on Azelf with Fire Blast because Weavile takes super effective from Fire Blast. Definitely send it out with caution, just like Gengar. For the select few of you who managed to get a Mewtwo from EX raids, Mewtwo with Shadow Ball would be a very nice pick. Of course, Shadow Ball is going to do super effective. It's one of the best ghost type moves in the game, so for the lucky few of you who have a Mewtwo with Shadow Ball, definitely send it in. Although Psycho Cut and Confusion will be resisted by the Lake Guardians, Shadow Ball will more than make up for the lost damage in the resisted hits right there. Now for the bug types, you may not want to actually use them. Like I said, they really have the short end of the stick here, but you still want to keep these in mind if you don't have any of the counters that I've mentioned earlier. Scizor or Pinsir with X-Scissor would be your best bug types as of right now until Niantic releases more or better bug types, or just better bug type moves and coverage in general. Scizor with X-Scissor would be your best bet because of all that resistances bar Fire Blast from Azelf. Fire Blast would just obliterate Scizor because of its double weakness, or 4 times weakness actually, to fire type attacks, so do not use a Scizor on Azelf for fear of Fire Blast. But if you're looking at Pinsir, there are really no worries, no big issues apart from Fire Blast, so definitely a Pinsir would work just as fine. Also, Pinsir has a much higher attack stat than Scizor, so you may want to send in your Pinsirs instead if you want the DPS, but I highly recommend a Scizor as your first pick because it has more bulk, so you might want to take the different stat distributions of Scizor and Pinsir when you want to decide which bug type to send in. Although I don't really recommend bug types, like I said, the Dark and Ghost types are definitely your best picks for the Lake Guardians. Now, Gyarados with Bite and Crunch does get an honorable mention. I know it does not get stabbed on Bite and Crunch, but it does do pretty comparable DPS compared to the rest of the counters I've mentioned. Looking at Gyarados' stats, both its attack and HP stat are above base 200. So definitely Gyarados would be a pretty good pick, although you might not want to use Gyarados. Tyranitar would be a better dark type attacker because Tyranitar does benefit from stab, but Gyarados would be a counter to consider here unless you're going up against Uxie. Uxie does have Thunder, so you might want to use it with caution especially if you're raiding in the Asia Pacific region where Uxie is everywhere basically. So that about wraps it up for my Lake Guardian counters here. Hopefully you've learned something from either one of my videos about the Lake Guardians. For now, this is where I'll be ending the video. I will be signing off right now. This has been TaeganAdventures, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.